lion brought from a department store to a jaguar who owes his life to humans, here are 10 animals that show gratefulness to humans who saved them. Number 10. Christian the lion. Did you know that there was a time when you could walk yourself into a department store and buy yourself a pet? No, not cats or dogs, but animals that you'd normally see while on safari rather than in a cage next to a roll of toilet paper sold on discount. It was the 1960s after all, before the passing of the 1976 Endangered Species Act. This story involves a lion named Christian, which was bought by John Rendell and Ace Burke from Harrods in London when he was only about 3 months old. To keep a long story short, the duo took care of the tiny cub, who was often seen milling about the furniture shop that John and Ace owned. In time, Christian became too big though, so the two decided to take him back to Kenya. They entrusted Christian to wildlife conservationist George Adamson. They left him with George to rehabilitate and reintroduce Christian back into the wild. It would be 2 years before John and Ace came back to visit, and when they did, it was as if the pair and Christian were never apart. Words will never fully describe their reunion, so check the video out. The pair would visit Christian for a second time in '73, which was the last they saw each other. After that, Christian disappeared into the wilderness and hasn't been seen since. Number 9. Bella the squirrel. Bella was simply a baby squirrel when she was attacked by an owl, an event that left her badly injured. She was found by a wildlife rescue group, which then gave her to the Harrisons, a family that volunteers to rehabilitate injured wildlife. She was raised alongside 3 other baby squirrels, Mo, Larry, and Curly, and since the 3 wouldn't be ready to be released before winter, they had to hunker out with the Harrisons until spring, and so they did. When spring came, it was time for all 4 squirrels to be released, but tiny Bella wasn't quite ready to say goodbye to the family who had taken good care of her, so she came back to visit, every day, for the very next decade. She would always sit at the front door, waiting for someone to notice her and give her treats. She now has quite the social media following and entertains her fans by posing for photos wearing cute and tiny hats. Number 8. A touch of thankfulness. It's not every day that you see an octopus on the beach, but if you do, they're probably in danger. The extremely intelligent 8-limbed animals can only survive out of the water for short periods of time. So when this man saw one stranded on the beach, he knew it was in trouble. As soon as he saw the stuck octopus, the kind-hearted stranger grabbed a plastic jar and jumped into action. It wasn't just the rescue that was incredible, but more so what happened afterward. The man helped the stranded animal back into the water, but as soon as it was in the water, the octopus didn't swim off immediately as you would expect. Instead, it did something that stunned all the people who watched the video. After hanging out for a while, the octopus swims closer to the man's shoe. Then he rested one of his tentacles on the man's foot in a clear gesture of thanks. Octopus are known to be extremely smart animals, but who knew that intelligence would manifest into acts of gratitude? Number 7. A grateful moose. Erikas Plukas of Lithuania found something that surprised him one morning. He lives on a farm near a wooded area, so he's used to seeing animals milling around his property, but what he found that morning was pretty unusual. That being a baby moose, clearly terrified, trying to remain absolutely motionless. The baby moose was in bad shape. It looked undernourished and was also wounded. Erikas concluded that the poor animal must have been separated from her mother, who fell victim to hunting. He called animal services immediately, but they said they couldn't do anything for the moose. This forced him to raise it himself on his farm. After many years, Erikas and the moose, which he called Emma, formed a very strong bond. Even when the moose was free to live freely in the woods, she would always return every day to the house of the man who gave her a new lease on life. Erikas even talked to hunter groups in his area and convinced them not to hunt Emma. Quite surprisingly, they agreed not to hunt Emma, some even committing it to forego hunting forever. Number 6. Pocho the crocodile. Some people have pet dogs and some people have cats, but some have a taste for the exotic. But this guy named Cheeto from Costa Rica not only had an exotic pet, it also had the potential of biting him in half. Cheeto had a pet crocodile, Pocho, and their story is one of the more amazing ones I've heard in a while, and that's saying something. Their relationship began when Cheeto found Pocho wounded on the bank of the Paris-Mina River. He was wounded after having been shot by a farmer. Cheeto, who admitted to love all kinds of animals, took Pocho back home and cared for him until he recovered. When the croc was fully recovered, Cheeto took him back to the river, but Pocho had other ideas and followed Cheeto home. As their bond strengthened over the years, Cheeto and Pocho grew to trust each other so completely that they spent hours each day swimming and playing together. Remarkably, Pocho the crocodile was gentle and patient with this human companion, and would even respond to his name when called. Thousands of tourists, scientists, and animal behavior experts came to see Cheeto and Pocho having fun. Pocho has since died of natural causes at the age of 50, but his story continues to raise awareness about just how special crocodiles can be. Number 5. The Hugger. Queen Abby, or Abby as her friends call her, is a very special kangaroo. She was only 5 months old when she was orphaned and hand-reared by the wildlife specialist at the Kangaroo Sanctuary Alice Springs in Australia. That was around a few years ago. Today, Abby is a healthy and happy kangaroo, and she shows her gratefulness for being given a second chance on life every single day, by giving her rescuers tight hugs every single day. In fact, that's actually how she starts her day every single day. You might recognize Abby's hugs from a viral video that was published by the Sanctuary back in 2016, and it's not hard to see why. It won the hearts of more than 1 million people. Number 4. Jupiter the Lion. Jupiter the Lion came to prominence in 2007 when a video of him was uploaded to YouTube. In it, the massive lion can be seen approaching a woman, and through the bars of its cage seems to be attacking her. While it does look like that initially, Jupiter wasn't really attacking, but rather showering the human with hugs and kisses. You see, 6 years prior to this footage being taken, Jupiter was rescued by that same woman from a traveling circus. The woman, Ana Julia Torres, rescued the then malnourished lion and took him to the Villa Lorena animal shelter in Colombia, which she ran. The video, however, was also the cause for the two being separated. In 2019, authorities decided to separate the two, stating that Torres lacked the proper documentation to keep the lion. But just last year, a video of Jupiter emerged, looking weak and emaciated. In a bid to save the lion's life, authorities transferred the lion to the Cali Zoo in order to get much-needed treatment, and also to be closer to Torres, whom the lion clearly pined for since their separation. Number 3. A Thankful Mom. Elephants have always been considered extremely smart animals with long memories. Often we hear stories of these animals using their intelligence to do harm. However, there are certain times when they have shown extreme gratitude, and when they do, it's pretty heartwarming. In the video, one can see a baby elephant struggling to get out of a ditch. The baby tries hard to get out of the hole, but the slippery sand makes it extremely difficult. The mother initially tried to help her baby herself, but found it to be impossible. That is when the rescuers tried to help him, and finally the baby comes out of the ditch and runs away to its family, who are standing a few meters away. The best part of the video is when the mother stops and looks back to thank the rescuers for saving her baby. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's pick is a photo of a man that in my opinion is getting uncomfortably too close to a huge lion. Knowing how dangerous these animals can be, it seems impossible for this not to end in tragedy. But thankfully, it didn't. In fact, the man is perfectly safe around the big cat. Why, I hear you ask? We'll get to know the answer next with number 2. The Lion Whisperer. Kevin Richardson loves lions, to the extent that he has rescued and rehomed several. Along the way, he has built a substantial following and personal media brand that generates revenue and allows him to continue doing what he loves. His public show of affection for his tame lions have earned the wrath of those who feel that he's setting a bad example in the war against the abusive cub-petting industry. However, you can't deny the fact that he has established a deep relationship with the lions, so much so that he's gotten closer to the animals more than anyone else in history. Richardson was referred to as the Lion Whisperer by British newspapers in 2007, and the name kinda stuck. There's probably no one in the world with a more recognized relationship with wildcats. The most popular YouTube video of Richardson frolicking with his lions has been viewed more than 25 million times and has more than 11,000 comments. Now, of course, there are some comments that warn Richardson that he's going to die a gruesome death if he continues to do this, but if you look at their many interactions, it's clear that Richardson's lions don't plan to eat him. Yet. They snuggle up to him as lazy as house cats, they nap in a pile with him, and mind you, they aren't tame. He is the only person they tolerate peaceably. They simply seem to have accepted him in some way, as if he were an odd, furless, human-shaped lion. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. JIQUITAIA the Jaguar. Here's a story of a jaguar that was never meant to survive but was given a second chance on life by the unlikeliest of people, which resulted into a friendship and mutual respect that would last for a lifetime. JIQUITAIA was just a cub when she was left by her mother deep in the Amazon jungle. This isn't unheard of, as many wild animals will choose to abandon sick or deformed offspring. Fortunately for the cub, though, Brazilian army soldiers found them and decided to care for them. The decision to rescue this jaguar was an easy one. The real challenge came when JIQUITAIA had to be fed, taught, and restored back to full health. Local authorities decided to give up the jaguar to the Brazilian military officers, who later on admitted were not trained to take care of the wild animal in such a capacity. They now permanently live in the soldiers' barracks, acting as docile as a house cat. Here's a few photos of them doing one of their favorite pastimes, swimming with the soldiers. Have you ever experienced an animal thanking you? Let us know down below in the comments. Also make sure to check out the channel's other amazing videos. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!